So we had a great flight to Las Vegas, and now we're in the middle of the Nevada desert, headed to Baker. So we're just passing the Geyser Ranch in Nevada's Spring Valley. We've been driving for about 4.5 hours from Las Vegas, and finally, on the horizon there, you can see sunset on the South Snake Range, Great Basin National Park. Good morning, Baker, Nevada. Looks like it's going to be a beautiful day today, and we're looking forward to starting our exploration of the park. The Great Basin is a large geographic region sandwiched between the Rocky Mountains to the east and the Sierra Nevada and Cascade Mountains to the west. Water that falls in the Great Basin drains internally rather than into either the Atlantic or Pacific Oceans. The Great Basin is characterized by a corrugated topography consisting of roughly parallel north-south trending mountain ranges separated by broad, low-lying desert valleys. Great Basin National Park lies in eastern Nevada, centering on 13,000-foot Wheeler Peak in the Snake Range. The history of the park dates back to 1922, when President Warren G. Harding invoked the Antiquities Act to establish the 1 square mile Lehman Caves National Monument in the Snake Range. 3 years later, the first attempt was made to establish a larger Great Basin National Park in the area surrounding Lehman Caves, but that proved unsuccessful. Over the next 6 decades, efforts to establish the national park continued and finally succeeded in 1986. Okay, we are rolling to the Wheeler Peak trailhead for our first hike in Great Basin Park. We'll be ascending 13,000-foot tall Wheeler Peak directly via the Wheeler Peak Trail, and for a bit of variety, we'll return to the trailhead via the Alpine Lakes Loop. Almost to the trailhead, but we're making a brief pause because there's a great view of the peak we'll be climbing today. That's Wheeler Peak, our objective, to the right, and to the left is the peak of Doso Doyabi, which means White Mountain in the Shoshone language. Okay, slowly but steadily up. We're at about 11,200 feet on the slopes of Wheeler Peak. Below you can see the broad, flat-floored Spring Valley, and beyond that, the mountains of the Shell Creek and Egan Ranges. That's Wheeler Peak above us, so near and yet so far. And then looking down below us to the Alpine Lakes Basin, and in the distance, the North Snake Range and the Mount Moriah Wilderness. We're getting pretty high. Wind's picking up. You can see Amy coming up there. Air's kind of thin, but finally, that's the top.
Okay, so here I am at the top of Wheeler Peak, and there's a mailbox. And the flag is up, so that says, mail inside. What's in there? Oh, a mountain logbook.
Well, here we are at the summit of Wheeler Peak, 13,065 feet above sea level, looking south along the crest of the Snake Range. It's a pretty amazing view. Okay, look, this is really cute. This is the Nevada Rock on the top of Wheeler Peak. See, it's the shape of Nevada. And look over here. It says LV, Las Vegas, Clark County. And then as you come up, it says Pioche. See that? That's Lincoln County. And then, see the WP? That's where we are. White Pine County. State of Nevada, look at that. Love it. Well, we are on our way down. Looks a bit precarious where Amy is, but actually the trail is pretty stable there. Well, we were hoping to see one or two bristlecone pines today on our hike, since that was one of the reasons we came to Great Basin. But no luck on that today. It's day 2, Great Basin National Park. We've chosen the 13.5-mile loop around False Pyramid and Pyramid Peaks today. The cumulative elevation gain on this hike is going to be just under 4,000 vertical feet. We are headed up Baker Creek, bound for Baker Lake. Some of the aspen groves below 9,000 feet are still ablaze in autumn color. We were a little bit surprised, but happy to see that. Well, here we are, Baker Lake, 10,620 feet. Heading up to the divide between Baker and Johnson Creeks. We are so wanting to see a bristlecone pine, but this actually looks like a limber pine.
Oh, here's some Engelmann spruce growing at 11,200 feet.
Okay, Baker Johnson Divide, about 11,300 feet. Great view looking east into Utah and below to Johnson Lake. Okay, these are the remains of the old Johnson Lake tungsten mine, which was destroyed by an avalanche in the 1930s. The mine was only ever a small-scale, almost a family-run operation. And since profits were low, it really didn't make sense to restart after the avalanche. So here the remains of a former livelihood have lain for the past 80-plus years. It's another sunny morning in Baker, Nevada. This little ranching community has been our temporary home for the past 3 nights as we explored Great Basin National Park. But today we're leaving, driving to Las Vegas to fly home. Sadly, during our 2 hiking days, we failed to chase down any bristlecone pines, but we did somewhat unexpectedly fall in love with the mountains of Nevada, and so we know that we'll be back. So, see you soon, Baker.